me. I'm rusty. I'm rusty, Chuck. We know what that's like.
Yeah.
And I guess hopefully we're here now, and everybody can hear us and see us.
Is it on? It's not going live.
All right, let me.
Yeah, we're here now, Jeff.
All right, we're here now. Yes, due to the wonderful world of Restream, it seemed like they did an update. They did an update during the early part of the week, and I updated it, and it messed me up. And then apparently Chrome did an update, which it did just before I tried to log on, and then that screwed up Restream, and it took me 20 minutes to get in here.
Delay and repeat.
Delay. But anyway, we'll try to get moving on here and say hello. We got Ted, aka Art Bear, in the house. Hello, Ted. We got Robert Daniels. Bob Our Photos is here. Mike Farwell. And Real Nikon Lovers with us. Gee, Jim, you're not working on a house now? You're taking a break? And let's see, we got Tim here. And Tim was saying it's a link problem, the Restream, and not the restroom. Well, I don't know. I don't have a restroom problem yet, but give me time. And let's see. Well, we got Woody. Luke S is here. And let's see. And that's
Robert Turner.
Rob, yeah. So we got Robert here from Connecticut. Good old Connecticut. Chuck, you guys still have snow on the ground, I'm sure, huh?
No, not today. It's all gone.
Ooh.
Well, still, there's a couple 5 out there for piles, but
yeah, that can't completely go away too soon for those in the Northeast.
yeah,
enough already.
Well, Alaska too is having problems. They're going to have the Antarctic race. They don't have enough snow, so they're giving it extra time.
So we've got 82 images for tonight. I'll put up the reminder later on about next month's photo review, so everybody could get amped up to send in some images. We hope that all of you that join and all of you that are joining in as we move on here, consider sending in images. We have, like I said, we have 82. Unfortunately, a disproportionate amount of those images are from those of us that are on the panel, which is exactly what I don't want to have. Not that I don't appreciate the work of everybody on the panel, but the whole idea is to try to get everybody that visits the show to engage together as a group and share together as a group. So I don't want this to become the panel photo show. I want it to be the community photo show. So we need everybody to kind of hopefully the weather's getting a little better where you are, and you'll be able to get some shots if you haven't been able to go out. And then we'll hope things get a little bit better. What I'm going to do, Terry's having a repeat. I don't know if you have Terry, if you're watching this on YouTube as well, if you have YouTube open, you got to close it because you're going through Restream now. You'll get that echoing if you're watching it in two places, basically.
The other way around that is you just turn your sound off on YouTube.
Sorry, my mistake.
And then, that is what I'm doing to make sure that Jeff is actually live.
Well, that's questionable.
Not in the
That's questionable. This is really a clone of Jeff. The real Jeff is in bed right now. I'm going to start off something a little different. Bob from Bob Our Photos, who you know, and him and I shoot all the time together down here in Myrtle Beach. And I want to share a little video clip before we get into the photos. we had something that we got to see, and I have not edited this video, and I wanted to make it a little bit, bring up the shadows a little bit. I didn't do that. You're going to see an uncut short video of some willets on the shoreline at the beach getting an interesting food item. And I'll let you know what that food item is once the video gets going, but it's going to be, I don't have it in Final Cut Pro, so this is the raw video file. So what's going to happen is what is going to play this video back. It's going to start off normal speed, then it's going to slow down, and then at the very end, it's going to speed up again. That's because I haven't done any manipulation or editing or anything, so it is what it is. But I thought it was an interesting enough thing that I should share it with you. So it's going to take me a second here to set things up, because they did, like I said, they did kind of mess around with Restream a little bit and make it so it has to be more interesting for me. So,
But I thought that only affected people with hair.
yeah, the Hairless Club for Men is not doing well. So I don't know if you could see anything yet.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Could you minimize us, Jeff?
Well, yeah, but it's not on the what you're showing for the public. You just got the desktop.
Yes, it is.
You got to click on your. There you go. You got it.
yeah. So I'm going to start the video now. And if it plays, it doesn't look like it's working. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not working.
Well, I saw that bird on the left move its foot quarter inch. Or was that 5 millimeters? There it goes again.
For whatever reason. Well, what I'm going to do.
Again.
Memory problems. If it's doing that. Apple just released a whole bunch of security things. So every time I close the program, it asks that this program, do you want it allowed? I say yes, but they always ask me after I close the program. So Apple has done some security stuff also, and it's been messing up my computer.
So I'm going to try this again.
Yeah, John is having problems with the Nikon Coolpix.
Yeah, if this isn't working, I apologize. It's which it's not, of course. Well, it would have been a nice video to show you.
Well, let's just show our pictures.
Yeah, we'll just
so we
show
don't
our
go down
pictures, and I'll
further.
get out of this, and hopefully the picture part works. Because so far, the show wasn't going too well.
And they got the two Aussies down under again. Or did they leave?
We're still here.
No, they're still there.
Yeah.
Stealth mode.
And let's see, I'm going to bring up my Lightroom, and this better work, or we're going to have a very short show.
Okay, I see it.
That's great, Jeff.
Okay, so now that this has like been the worst start of a show in history, probably. Not very good. I got to get up my cheat sheet so I know who sent in what. Now, this first image, I'm not really sure who sent it in. I mean, it came under True.Liberty. I wasn't sure if it was Who Is Seraphin or not. I put that down as a question mark. The photo was called A Dreamy Christmas. This was taken at Lock Towers in Florida with an OM5 using the Olympus 17 millimeter 1.2, which is equivalent to 34 millimeter on full frame. So he sent in one image, and I think this is the first time this person ever sent in an image. So I want to thank that individual for sending in a shot. It's a neat shot, and appreciate you doing that. And hopefully you will send in more at future events.
Is that you?
Oh, that's me. They're
Oh.
They're coming
They've
to
been
get
looking
him.
for Dave for a while. He's wanted. He's wanted by the.
They're going to deport him back to
Yeah,
America.
yeah, they're gonna send him somewhere. So that's the one shot we got here. So thank you for sending that in. We will move on. We got the next photos coming up are going to be from Woody Mallory and Bob Repper, aka Bob Our Photos. So the second image here that we're going to show
Oh, wow.
is sunrise at OBX. This is a D7100 shot.
Oh,
17 to 55 millimeter DX lens, f2.8, set at f4.5, 1/50th of a second, ISO 100. So Woody, I don't know if you're in the chat yet. I have to kind of turn my head around in a circle to see the chat right now. So if you're in there, hello.
yeah, I don't see him.
Okay. His next image is Mabry Mill Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, also with the D7100, f8 at 1/125th of a second. That's a nice peaceful shot. That looks like that could even be on a golf course, maybe. Who knows? Or near a golf course.
It's an interesting looking mill. I
Yeah,
just wonder what they're producing.
it's probably. I would probably think it's an old one that's not used anymore, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I can see them not producing anything now, but what did they
Yeah.
produce in its day?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a nice image. The his next image is from this is the Monticello home, Thomas Jefferson. He says a different view from the normal tourist photo. The D7100 once again, f11, 1/60th of a second. Yeah, I've never been there. I've never seen that. So that's everything from Woody. So Woody, wherever you are, and you'll probably catch up on us on this tomorrow. Thank you for sending in those shots. We appreciate it. Now we move into some images from Bob.
Oh, Woody's here now.
Well, Woody, we just saw your shots. Okay, he commented Mabry Mill is the most photographed item on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Woody, if you happen to know what they used to do, what they produced with that mill, type that in the chat because we're curious. Obviously, it's inactive, I'm sure, at this point in time. But what did they use it for in the past? But thank you for your images. This is an image from Bob. This is obviously a wood stork on the hunt. And a fish like this is not going to go down quick or easy, typically. They really, really struggle to get a fish that's that wide down their throat. And then this is like he kind of like dunks it in the water. A lot of birds, they dunk the they'll dunk the fish in the water, and water acts like a little lubricant and to try to help get it down their throat. But a wood stork with a fish like that, you could sometimes one is really creative and might get it down within 3 or 4 minutes. Other times they could be going at it for 10 or 15 minutes.
Wow.
Just to try to get it down their throat. And then he sent in an image of a bird that also likes to eat fish this one is not too big for this bird, but sometimes they get stupid and they get an awfully big fish, and some of them die, some of them don't make it. The fish gets stuck down, part way down, and
Wow.
they sometimes get killed because they get a little too greedy with their prey. But this one is the cormorant. These are all with the Z8 with the 180 to 600 lens. This is at 400 millimeters, ISO 640, f6.3, 1/12/50th of a second. And then his, as you can see, here's a little bit of the sequence here. They have them in their mouth, they're taking them down. That's a pretty good sized fish from this shot. Basically the same settings as the previous image that we saw. And there it's amazing how that little curve in the bill really helps them out a lot when it comes to gripping the fish, because that little hook is on like one side of the gills and then the other parts underneath the gills. But they if they can't swallow it while they're in the water, I mean they will basically swim dragging the fish any way they have to get to shore, and then they'll work on it on shore. They do, as they say, they do what they have to do to get their meal. So Bob, thank you for those shots. We appreciate it. And then we're going to get into the next images. We got some images from Anita Stewart, and then we have some images after her from Gustavo. So she starts off, we'll bring up the first image here. She says, I'm sending you fall photos that she took when she went to Croatia in 2017, which was her gift to herself. She says there are 2 national parks that are particularly beautiful when in fall foliage. She says the first set of photos, so the first 5 pictures, were taken at Plitvice National Park, which is the oldest and largest national park in Croatia. She says the park was established in 1909 and became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979. There are lakes over a distance of 5 miles, ranging in colors of azure, green, gray, and blue, depending on the quality of the minerals, organisms, and the angle of your sunlight. And photos were taken with the D7100 and the D600. So the first 5 photos are going to be from this particular national park. And this first image here was taken with the D7100, I believe. She's got 35 millimeters. She has a 24 to 70 lens. She's at 35 millimeters, f8, ISO 100, 1/50th of a second. A lot of nice little mini waterfalls and spillages going down there in that image. Very pretty. A lot of color. Very, very nice. Then we'll bring up her second image. Yeah, that's the one thing I miss the most living down south is at least where I am anyway. I don't see any color like this. I get nothing. We get nothing down here. You got just pretty much just pine trees down here for the most part. And this is the same lens, f8 ISO 100 at 20/80th of a second. And her third image. Why do I have an awful feeling you're hanging off the edge of a cliff while you're taking this? I think my fear of heights would be kicking in right about now, if thinking about where she's standing. 35 millimeters set at 35 millimeters here with ISO 100 f9, 1/80th of a second. So she's pretty consistent here with the slow shutter speed. And I like this with showing some overhead branches from above her head in the picture and to the side, and a reflection in the water. And this is at 16 millimeters with a 16 to 35 millimeter f4 lens. This is taken at f8 ISO 100 at 1/60th of a second. And I think this is 1, 2, 3. This is the last picture from that park, and then I'll talk about the next series that she sent.
Was this at the fall time? That
Yeah,
Anita
this was in the fall. Yeah.
You don't believe it looks like this in the spring, Randall?
Yeah, this isn't a winter shot, I'll tell you that.
But it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Now the next 4 photos that you're going to see, she took in Kirka National Park, the Skredinsky Buck waterfalls range from 200 to 400 meters, approximately 600 to 1,312 feet wide, with an average height of 45.1 meters, approximately 150 feet. They are exceptionally beautiful in the fall. In total, the park has 17 cascading waterfalls along the Kirka River. So you're going to see some waterfall photos, even though the first one did have water. They all had water in it of some sort, right? So here's the next set of 4. And this is with the 16 to 35 millimeter f4 lens at 25 millimeters, f10, 1/200th of a second, 100.
Yeah, that's a beautiful lens.
Yeah. And then here she's pretty close. 20 millimeters at the 20 millimeter setting, so 100, 1/60th of a second. Kind of framing that waterfall with the foliage around it here in the foreground. This is nice. This has a wide range of light in it. You got the obviously the falls in the foreground are a little bit in the shadows, and the ones in the background are in the sunlight. She did a nice job of balancing this well. This is with the 24 to 70 f2.8, 26 millimeters, f2.8, 1/500th of a second, ISO 100. And then her last image here. This is with the 16 to 35 f4 at 28 millimeters, f8, 1/60th of a second, ISO 100. Very, very beautiful shots, Anita. Very nice. Very, very nice. That was obviously a very good a very good gift to yourself for your retirement. That's a great way to remember your. So thank you very much.
Excellent.
So who
I'm
are the
gonna
next
back
two,
up.
Jeff?
I'm gonna back up one here because I think, Gustavo pointed this out. He says he sees a hint of a rainbow in the water in front of the far falls. So yeah, you could just barely see somewhere in this area. I think where a rainbow was
Yeah.
trying to form. But great job as always. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. The next ones are our friend Gustavo, who is right now probably dancing with hula girls and ignoring his wife and getting an awful lot of trouble while he's in Hawaii. Hopefully he's behaving himself, or it'll be a long trip home. So his first, here we go. His first shot is of a hairy woodpecker. I guess it earned its name here. He says he took this first quarter of 2025 with the Z9 and the Z600 at Z600 f4 TC VRS lens at 840 millimeters, ISO 5000, 1/800th of a second, f.6, no exposure comp. He says he took this photo recently in his backyard during a winter storm near one of his feeders. He's noticed that the resident woodpeckers during a winter storm get on the downward side of big trunks, fluff their feathers, and wait for the storm to pass. Here you can see that this guy doing exactly that. He says, I took this photo from inside the house. Oh, that's cheating. Took it from inside the house where it was warm. Opened the window carefully and took a few pictures while fighting friction created by the temperature difference between outside and inside the house. And he says, by the way, they use the same perching strategy when they sleep. So that's a nice image. And then Gustavo gets, he doesn't necessarily have to roam far from his house to get some of these great shots. This is his second image of a mule deer. This is using the Nikon Z8 with the 600 millimeter f6 VRS lens at ISO 3600, 1/400th of a second, f6.3, and no exposure compensation at all. And he says, this is another new photo. He says, this guy visited me recently. He's not one of the regulars, which he photographed early in the track of how many survived the hunting season. He says this year he posted again some signs indicating that I was not allowing hunting in my property. He says, I don't know if that worked, but at least I did not get anybody coming to my front door asking for permission to hunt or retrieve a deer in my yard. You guys remember he had would not let the guy get the deer, I believe, last year, and he had a series of pictures, as the carcass decomposed and attracted a lot of
Scavengers.
Scavengers, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. He says this year he also saw that some of the neighbors were putting signs too, so this is helping as well. And he says this guy is rather unusual for my area. He says, as you can see, this guy has a magnificent set of antlers, so he's surprised that he survived the season. Hopefully he'll see him later this year. He says in one of the upcoming Chuck's Saturday meetings, he will show a close-up of this deer and how to score antlers based on the number of points, their relative diameters, etc. So you're going to get, you'll have to call the segment, Chuck, Deer Talk with Gustavo.
He's already done with it.
So I absolutely love this picture. This picture's great. Bellied whistling ducks in Texas, fourth quarter 2005. He says Nikon D1. Hey, the D100. Shout out for the D100 and the Nikkor 500 f4 PF lens, ISO 200. He's at 500 millimeters, a 1/800th of a second f4. He says this is one of those photos that he reprocessed a couple weeks ago. He says the photo was taken with the D100 at the Texas Brazos XP in 2005. It says DX format with a 6 megapixel camera. So look what shot you can get with 6 megapixel, folks. We worry about whether 24 is enough, and here you got 6 megapixel. He says he had a print. This is when he had a print of this photo in his family room already, but now that he's kind of tweaked it a little bit, he's thinking about reprinting it. He vividly remembers taking this picture early in the morning after family to the state park for a picnic breakfast. He says the light was tricky, backlit, but he could not do anything without risking disturbing the ducks. As you can see, this is not a traditional composition with the lead duck on the left of the frame, but I think it works, at least for him. It works fine. He said the shot was taken with the 500 f4P, which was Nikon's last telephoto manual focus lens. And that was his main telephoto lens for many years. And he finally managed to save some money and got the AF 500 millimeter f4D in 2006. He says this is the only one of his old F-mount telephotos that he kept after moving Z system. Then his last shot he sent in, Gustavo, I hope you're actually watching us from your hotel room. His last shot he sent in was pictures he took at Monterey Bay, California in the third quarter. This was from 2015. This was with the Nikon D800E and the Nikkor autofocus VR 80 to 400 millimeter f4.5 to 5.6. He's at 86 millimeter here, ISO 200, 1/3 of a second at f5.6. He says this is the photo he took in 2015 during a whale watching tour in California. It was taken with the Nikkor 80 to 400 millimeter, not a lens that he particularly likes, but zooms are the right tool for whale watching photography. However, he says, I do love the distortion of the water. He says, I don't know for certain, but he also believes he was using a polarizing filter at the time. So, once again, a very nice set of images from Gustavo. We thank you. Send our thanks to you out in Hawaii and hope you're having a great time and look forward to having you in the near future. And we appreciate. And there I go moving my mouse around again. So the next set of images we're going to get are from Terry. I'll let Terry talk about them. They're his images. I'll let him talk about them. So we'll bring up his first image. Terry, you're on cue, my friend. Here we go. Oh, did we lose Terry?
Terry is having some. He wanted to write comments into, and he couldn't do it through the first one with Restream. So I showed him how to, or wrote to him how to open up the second one to do that. But he might have muted the wrong one in order to speak. So I told him the internet one or the second window, mute that, and then leave the sound on the original one where you invited him on the camera. So
Okay.
That's the apostles near where I live.
I guess I'll
are
just.
you having any sound problems?
I'm
Woody
not.
Mallory said he did.
Let me
Hearing
see.
Jeff, but I just do a refresh, and that should.
Yeah, let me.
Oh, he's not watching on Chrome. You can do that with your cell phone or tablet also. You can use it with any browser you're using, Woody. Just do a refresh.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'll talk for him, I guess, because I don't know how long it's gonna take him to get resituated.
Or
I
the other option is come back.
come back. I'm gonna skip Terry's for now, and if he gets everything fixed, we'll come back to his images. So let me jump to the next person. Give me a second to get reestablished here.
Yeah,
And,
Safari gave them some problems too with YouTube. You know, Apple did an update, messed up a lot of things.
And it only
So
happens
these
when you're
are-
going live too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next image is from Jeff and Leslie, from Jeff Sluter. He just titled this "Frosty Morning." This was with the D500 body, 24 to 70 f2.8 at 70 millimeters at 2.8 ISO 100 1/640th of a second.
Yeah, Jeff, there's some comments. I think your mic is a little bit on the hot side because you say you're clipping. It's not clipping for me.
No.
Yeah, it's my mic for like way below clipping, so I don't know why it should be.
Oh, yeah, it's not clipping. He's sounding great. It's Safari program. That's what they're having problems with.
Yeah, you can't watch this in Safari. You got to watch it in Chrome.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that lesson when I was first starting off, and I was trying to do everything from Safari, and it just didn't. Safari just can't handle it for some reason.
Yeah. Terry says he can't connect. No.
Does he want? Should I link? I don't know if that's going to help him.
Well, no, he can use the link on. You know, if he goes up the comments and just clicks on the link
Yeah.
sent there, it should work.
Well, I sent it. I emailed him the link, Randall, so he can
Okay.
go back to that.
Okay.
Yep. He may have to do a reboot or something, but we'll come back to his when he comes on.
Yeah.
That's probably the best bet because I want to hear Terry's comments about his photography.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was like I said, Jeff's first image. It's interesting. I like it.
It's a nice warm day.
Yeah. His next image, I guess he's him and Gustavo could have a deer contest. He says his comments on this are so true. He says it's tough being a deer. You can see all the black flies on the deer's face, and it's all over in the air, all around the poor deer. This with his Canon R7 with the 1:500 at 238 millimeters, f5, 1/800th of a second, ISO 800. Yeah, Jeff manages to have a good area to go to get shots of deer. I mean, we have deer in the park, but you know, unless you go hiking through the woods, it's a rarity that you see them. And once in a while, when we're on the causeway, certain time of year, they might actually be eating grasses that are right on the bank of the on the pond side, and sometimes you can get a group of 4 or 5 of them that look really nice in a picture. But it isn't too often when we get a chance to get anything close like this. And then his, so nice job, Jeff. So his next image, I'll let you guys try to, this is, I should have put that this shot is rated X activity going on here with these bluette damselflies in mating. They're really having a good time here. This is with the R7 as well, and the 1-500 at 500 millimeters. F9, 1/400th of a second. ISO 125th at minus 2.7 EV. Jeff always manages to find insects that are having fun, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, between these two and the mosquitoes and the flies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here he took a picture of his wife Leslie walking down what we call Snake Road. He says this is where we go snake hunting every autumn when the snakes are heading to the limestone cliffs to find crevices and spend the wintertime. R7 once again, 1-5 at 100 millimeters, 1/50th of a second. ISO 320 minus 1 EV. Jason, you always send in pictures of your wife walking away from you. I don't know. You got to show a picture of her. Then he sent in this following image of a thistle that was ready to bloom. He says, fond memories of summer and hope for its return after a long, cold winter. That's for sure. This is with the R7 with the 100 millimeter macro lens at f7.1, ISO 400, 1/250th of a second, 0.3 EV. And I just heard the blip on my computer, so I think Terry might be trying to get in. Let me just show Jeff's last image here, and then I will check. Jeff sent in, this is a cool shot of the, with leaf not only laying on the ice, but having a piece of ice on top as well, like a leaf sandwich. He says he was intrigued by how the ice melted around the leaf, and then he saw several on the pond that were the same. The only thought that he had about this was that the dark leaf probably absorbed the heat from the sun, and the ice melted around it. He says, works for me. R7 with the 100-500 again at 223 millimeter, f7.1, 1/640th of a second, ISO 25. Cool. No pun intended, Jeff. Cool shot. Says that his wife is usually running away from him. That's why we don't never get any pictures of her other than her walking, other than the back of her. He's running away from Jeff. Thanks so much for your images, Jeff. And the next set are going to be your images, Randall, and we'll let you talk about them in a second. I'm just going to make sure that I don't have Terry waiting in the background, and I got to bring him back in. I have to kind of move everything out of the way on my screen to be able to see if he's, yeah, he is waiting to come in. Terry, can you hear us?
Yep. Can you?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Good.
we can hear you. So what
Great.
we'll do is, before I get way far ahead, I'm going to go back to your images so that you could talk about them, and then we'll get to Randall's. So I'll go backwards here and let you discuss your images. You could describe them better than I can. And give me a second to get to your first one. And here we go.
Our
So
beloved
I'll let you.
12 apostles.
All right, over the narration, sir. You can go right ahead.
Well, this photograph is classic for Australian. Roy must know about it. It's the 12 apostles
there
on the
often.
Great Ocean Road. I'm not so good on that. You put me on the spot now.
Oh, well, I could read what you sent me, and then you could add to it if you want to do that.
Yeah, if you want to ask me something, because yeah, I'm trying to
Okay,
catch what I
I'll
write
read.
to you, but I can't find it.
All right, I'll read what you sent, and then you can add some additional information and any questions.
No problem.
So Terry starts off saying a few days earlier they went to the south point of Phillip Island, as they call it, the Nobies, where at the right time around Christmas you can see Australian. I don't know if this is the right one. No, it's not. I'm one
No,
ahead of
it's
you. Okay, he says this first shot is a typical Australian landscape, the famous 12 apostles taken when he was touring when his daughter visited from Greece, and he used the Xenon 24 to 72.8 at 70 millimeters at f7.1 for 30 seconds at ISO 64, and then he slightly cropped out the empty sky. And
it was a really empty sky, as you can see.
yeah, so was this early morning or late afternoon?
That is about early morning,
Early morning, okay.
about 10 o'clock or so. But it was very, very nice light. The color was different this time.
Yeah.
It's nice of the sky to wait until 10 o'clock in the morning to have color like that, so you don't have to get up early.
But not so common, David.
Uh,
That was really surprising when I see that.
yeah,
It was about 9 o'clock, 9:30.
yeah. I found 10 o'clock a little bit hard to believe.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I like I like the different, the shades of color you get because of, just the way how these rocks are cut, you get different ways of the light hits it, and then the being at such a long 30-second exposure, you get a really neat look where the
Maybe the
water
fire we
meets.
had on this area this time maybe have influenced the sky.
yeah. That would do it a lot. It does it here.
Okay. So now I'll go to the one I started narrating incorrectly. Now I'll go to the next image where he's a few days earlier. They went to the south point of Phillip Island, the Nobies, where at the right time around Christmas you could see Australian terns giving birth to a new generation. This is the Z9 with the 180 to 600 at 600 millimeters, f6.3. 1/2000th of a second at ISO 500. He says lunch has been served. Yeah, the deal is done. It's down.
Yeah,
It's
this
nice
fish was
that
half the size of the bird.
and it's nice that the other birds did not try to steal it from the little one.
Yeah, exactly what I wanted to say. They were up to the chance.
Yeah,
They were doing it every now and then.
yeah,
Yeah, the
cute.
parrot seems to have the chick surrounded by its wings.
Yeah,
Yeah. They were trying to protect them all the time.
Yeah,
The daddy was coming in and out. I don't know if it was daddy or mother anyway, but yeah, they were coming in and out. And every now and then, the other birds around, they were trying to steal the fish from his mouth or her mouth. It was fun to watch.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
The
a
colors,
wonderful
the
shot.
colors are really bad. I don't know if it is my laptop, but the colors are really bad.
Well, it looks pretty good to me. I mean, it doesn't. You know,
Okay.
you only have that little kiss of light coming in that just happens to be hitting the bill, mom there or dad, and lighting
Yeah.
up the baby. You know, I mean, it's you worked well with what you had. Let's put
Yeah, exactly.
now your next image. I gotta give me a second. I gotta refresh.
Yeah, that's good.
Laptop.
The next one is this comet we had in the south hemisphere. A comet was coming every 160,000 years around, and we had the chance to see that. I tried a couple of times, but no luck. Until, with the help of my daughter's eyes, mine could see anything anyway, but she find it on and guide me to find it on the camera. And that's a picture of I think 20 or 24 images stuck together. It was really fade, but together the 20, 25 images bring it up. Nothing spectacular, but something which is not happen so often, particularly down here.
No.
Until the next 160,000 years.
Yeah. 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 No one will be around again.
You don't know.
Probably nobody will.
You
No
don't
one will
know
be
that.
on this planet by that point in time. I suppose, or we'll look a heck of a lot different than we do now. I'm sure if we are still here.
Yeah. A little bit older, probably.
And we'll still be fighting over 24 megapixel cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll bring up your next one.
Yeah, as I said, I tried to send this picture a couple of times, but for one or the other reason, I don't know why, I was sending the other ones and was leaving this one out. And this time I thought, nah, come on, I have to do it. I like it very much. That's why I sent it. I don't know if you see what I saw at the moment. It is actually Photoshop. All right, it's normal photograph, but I thought on black and white with showing the head, it speak to me. That's if I can say it like that. Well,
Oh yeah.
I like it that I thought it was the time to send it.
Well, with it being black and white, I think you know obviously that's the brightest part of the scene is the face, is the eye, and around the eye,
Yeah.
and it really directs you right there, and then you kind of look back and you look at the different graduations of darkness as you go from right to left, and a very beautiful shot, very nice, very well
I
done.
love black and white, and I have promised to myself someday before I die, I'll make only black and whites. I hope I have a long time in front of me.
You'll have to do a little make yourself a little black photo book out of black and white images.
Yeah, I have a book like that, actually. Beep beep.
Well, this next picture, and you get to pronounce this because I'm not going to try. So you and your Icelandic names, you guys, you know, just call it. If it's an iceberg, do me a favor. Just say this is berg 1 and this is berg 2. This is berg 3.
They're not pigeons?
Not bergs, not birds, or bergs. BERG, but because I'm not going to pronounce this, Terry's going to. You're on your own on this one, buddy.
Jalan Palfos. Don't make me do it again.
I want you to do it 10 times fast.
Fast, okay. Probably from the end to the start. Yeah. As difficult the name The access wasn't bad, and I think the picture talks by itself. I'm not sure if I got it the proper way. Believe me, I try.
This is wonderful with the sun just slightly to the left of where that water spillage is coming down.
Actually, yeah, I moved to the left to
Yeah.
have it because most of the time the light, because it was behind the clouds, we wouldn't see if it was front of over on the side of the water. But yeah, I moved the moment the sun comes up. I moved to the left about 2 meters or so,
Yeah.
and I thought that doesn't need to go further up where it was.
No.
At the moment, I thought it was all right.
No, I mean, doing it the way you did it kind of, it's a tease almost, like, he just got the sun out of the way of the water, you know, and you did it purposely. So that's makes it even more interesting,
And there is
I don't blame you for that.
as I wrote to the message, it is 11:30 at night.
Wow. 11:30 at night.
I used the 1424 at 14 and 16 aperture with 1/6 of the second to give a bit of more movement to the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful
nice
shot.
experience.
So that's
A
everything
huge
that.
cave.
Yeah. Now, are you? Is this just where you walk through a cave for a while and then boom, you get to the end and this is what you saw?
We coming inside from the left side. You can maybe, if you make it big, you may see as more like a path. Maybe I have a person somewhere there, and you go around. You can almost go all the side around, but it was slippery and up and down, and you had to choose very, very carefully where you put your feet. But yeah, you can go around in all this cave. It's not so deep.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see. It looks like there are a few people.
Yeah.
On the left there, on that road, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Walking trail or a road, might be a road. But wonderful shots as always, Terry.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
you sending stuff.
Fantastic series, Terry.
Yeah, very well done.
Very much.
So thank you so much and thank you for now. Stay on for the rest of the show. You don't have to leave just because we did your shot.
No. I had problems with the connection. You just told me that you're out, and I took the advice from David and reboot, and looks all right now.
Okay, so hang in with us for as long as you want.
No worries. That's why I'm here.
Okay, and
I like your show, Mike.
but thank you again so much. And now I'm going to jump ahead to Randall. Randall, are you well there? Because I can't see you on my screen, so I have to.
Okay.
We will jump to your first image here. And
Great shots, by the way, Terry. That was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
And I'm a animal lover, as most people know. So
That's a big one.
see, I faked you out.
Okay, so I used a 1.4 teleconverter with this. So this is actually at 840 millimeters. You can see how high the ISO is, and at f9, 1/250th of shutter speed. But even with this lens, you can see the bokeh where I got a perfect shot of my cat looking right at the lens, and right behind Dusty is Wanda, who's in the background, and she's kind of bokeh. And I thought this was a great shot, so I started using the 180 to 600 on testing, and This was also on the Nikon Z8. Okay. But I thought that was the perfect shot. On my screen, I mean, you can see the hairs, even the whiskers and stuff. It's just unreal. And
Nice way for a narrow portrait.
yeah. So you can get some bokeh with the 180 to 600, but that's at
Yeah, you can.
840 with the
Yeah.
1.4 teleconverter.
And then we'll
Very
move
good
to it
lens.
here.
So the cat said you're close enough. Is that right, Randall?
I was actually about 20 feet away when I
Well,
took that
yeah,
picture.
it's still close enough for the cat.
Yeah. But I did not see the bug when I took this picture.
As usual.
Okay. I did not. And as you can see, I believe this was the teleconverter number 2. So this is at 1200 millimeters. ISO is
You're
at
at 1200
2500.
millimeters.
And then, of course, it's at F13. So everything is sharp. With the winter, that flower is gone and probably the bug. But I did not know that bug was on there. And I thought that was a pretty good
Yeah,
shot.
when I saw this picture, I says, it really bugs me. But
Yeah,
I kept
yeah.
Then we'll go to your next one here.
Okay.
I knew what this was as soon as it popped up.
The
Yeah,
bird,
the bird bath. So
This-
this is with the 2X converter also, with the 180 to 600, Z8, F13, 1250 ISO, 1200 millimeters. And I just missed the bird that left. Just missed him. And you can see the water just kind of settling down again. But you can see the, I guess it's the black mold on the bird bath on the outside. But I thought that was still a pretty good picture of the water. And, the background is basically a pavement. But, of course, you can't see it. It's blurred out. And that's how good this lens is. I really like it.
I'm glad you didn't tell me this was a bowl of soup. Would have been concerned.
If I can intersect now, I make last week similar test with my 180-600 because I wasn't sure how sharp would be it is actually this lens, and I tried that with the 2 converters too, and I was on the end I was surprised. In spite of the photographs I've done before with this lens, and I'm pretty happy with them. I had always some second thoughts, but that proved me wrong. The test, exactly the same test as Randall, with one and the 2 of the thesis, which it proved me wrong. It was it is really nice lens, really nice lens.
Well, Gustavo has tried his darndest to convince all of us, and he may have convinced quite a few of us, because the quality of the teleconverters for the Z mount are so much better than the F mount, and
with
and
no question,
they work very, very well with the
with
Z
no
mount.
question. When I had the 850 Jeff with it, and I had the same converters, they were, for me, they were unusable.
Yeah, I would with the
Simple as
F
They
mount.
were
I
unusable.
would use the 1.4, but I would never use I never would get a 2. Wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
yeah, Jeff,
I
they
tried
work
with the
much better on the
200,
film
500.
with the paperweight.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But these 2 new teleconverters, they are unbelievably good. Compared with the past, they are excellent. Excellent.
Yeah,
Both
I
of
mean,
And even
you could stop
Grace
times
said
using a
that the
2X.
So even Gray said that the teleconverters they were usually used in 1.4, and they were surprised with the 2.0 teleconverter. So this is a sharp lens. I love it.
It is. It is.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes with the F mount, I didn't own one, but I borrowed one from somebody one time. The 1.7 wasn't horrible, but not a lot of people bought the 1.7. They either bought the 1.4, and the 2, and after a while they just said, no, we're not using the 2 anymore. But I'll bring up your next animal shot.
Ah, okay. Let's see. There she is. All right. So this is the 180 to 600 again. And this is at 2800. I think I put it in crop mode. I know it's Roy's best. He doesn't like the crop mode, but I think I put it in just to see how far I can get. So no, 360 millimeters. I'm sorry. No, I had that on another picture, but this is at 360 millimeters. So I think the converter is off on this one. And I couldn't tell you if I'm looking at F11. Yeah, I do have the converter on. Yep, I sure do. It was at 180, but with the 2X teleconverter, it was at 360. Okay. So I can't remember. I'm just looking at it and I'm trying to remember, but I sent these pictures about, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember and I can't.
A while
Sorry.
back. Yes.
Yeah. But that's Wanda. And you can see how sharp she is. Yeah.
Our dog.
I love the lens. I love the Z8.
Our dogs are getting older quick, aren't they?
Yeah, she's 10 years old. She just got her rabies. She's over her pneumonia. She does have a collapsed trachea, though. But she's getting along fine. She still runs around. She still eats a lot. She has lost about 3 pounds. She needs to lose another 1.5 pounds or 2 to get to her magic weight. But when she was on steroids, in order for her to take the medicine, I had to put maple syrup on it. And she gained about 5 pounds. So
Sounds like me.
But yeah, she's playing with the cat now, and they chase each other back and forth. So that's a good thing.
Yep. There's still a little bit left in her. Some little gas left in the tank, as they say.
Okay, this one is at 400 millimeters at f8, and this is the 28 to 400. Now, I like using this lens. I just did a video with the 28 to 400, cutting this big log, and I cut so many branches, 35 feet worth of stuff for the guy, the mulch, that I think my chainsaw was getting dull. So I had to finish it with a saw. But the 28 to 400 is a fantastic lens, even if it's an f4 to an f8. It's at f8 at 400 millimeters. ISO is at 1400. And I did it at 1/250th of a shutter speed. The IBIS was on, and this is a great shot. I love the colors of the flowers. Of course, it's gone now because of the winter, but we're getting spring-like weather right now since the cold snap. So we're good until Easter. Once Easter arrives, then it's hot. So there goes our spring.
Yeah, we had a day here today, but we had a pretty good breeze, and I think we're supposed to get a little bit of a cold snap again for this coming week, like probably a few days anyway, a 50-degree weather. But hey, right now we're in that up and down period.
Okay, this one is the 180 to 600 again at 1200 with a 2x teleconverter. And this plant is in the ditch and it grows these melons. So I don't know what type of flower or plant it is, but it's wonderful that they let it grow. But the guy comes out every month and he chops it down. And I try to cut it around so he would leave it, but he goes over it anyway. But I love the texture of the flower. And of course, if you would leave it alone, they grow these big melons. And I want to try one to see how sweet it is. But we got good lawn service here in this neighborhood. But I liked it. I think it's a great lens, the 180-600. Whatever camera you put it on, I put it on my Z52. I put it on even the ZFC. It worked great. It's just a great lens. I love using it.
And I want to say hi to J. Rod is here. He's not going to be here too long, so that's probably go ahead and jump to his. So he's here, so that if anybody has any questions, he's here to answer them before he has to. So we'll finish up with yours, Randall, and then I will try to find out where in the queue his are and jump ahead, and then come back afterwards.
Okay.
But we'll go through.
That's not his.
That's not yours.
No, that's not J Rod's.
I think that was your last one,
Yeah.
Kendall, right? All right, so let me. I gotta jump ahead and see where J Rod's shots are. Oh, it might be easy because of. Yes. These are at the end. It'll be easy to find his. And I tell you, it's one shot in here. He sent me 2 images, and we'll start off with the calmer of the two. It'll kind of blow you away. I'll warn everybody ahead of time. So this is J Rod's first image that he sent me of this goose.
Nice.
That immigrated to Canada.
You can keep them.
And the 180 to 600 millimeter lens. He's at f8, 1/2000th of a second, 600 millimeters, ISO 720.
Very nice detail.
He says he was at a bull riding show tonight. So, and that ain't no bull, right, James? But the next image he sent me, I'm like, wow, I hope he makes a print of this. He got this beautiful encounter with an adult eagle and a juvie. And the juvie, you could see the fish. And the adult's probably trying to steal it from the juvenile, would be my guess. And this is with the 600 millimeter VR f4G lens at 1/2500th of a second, f4, ISO 1250. Really, really cool image. Not often that you get to see something like that. You've probably been in that same spot 1,000 times, James, and never were there at that right moment to get this.
Yeah, finally lucked out.
That was at the dam, Conowinga Dam. Great work, James. Thank you very much for sending those in.
Great stuff.
We appreciate it.
And only 2 legs in each of the animals this time.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna rewind because the next set of images, and this gentleman who was just talking knows they're his, is David Stewart's are next. So David's going to be able to talk to these. And once again, thank you, James. He got a hold of me the last minute. Said, hey, can I send in a few pictures? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead, send them. So glad you were able to stop by. And yeah, send more next time. We appreciate it. So David, we'll let you rock and roll here.
The first 3, they were taken out of my comfort zone. This one and the next one were taken with my 850 and my 70 to 200. This is part of our Chinese New Year celebration. This is one of the many dancers on stage. And it's and you can see that this is wide open. I didn't push things that far because I didn't have to. We had ample light, you know. But you can see a little bit of movement in the hands. You know, as I want to have a little bit. I didn't want to stop everything completely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice outfit, nice hat. Nice. It adds a lot to that picture too.
Those women must have had somebody spend an hour on their face. You know. And there had to be at least 100 dancers, you know, at different times. You know. And you can go to the next one there, Jeff.
Typing something quick in the response and go to your next shot.
And this is another dancer. It's she spent a bit of a time on a chair, so it was, but you can see from the shutter speed on this is I was shooting aperture priority and the light was very variable, but my trusty D850 kept up and it nailed the focus and everything. So it's still an excellent camera, and I still take it out when it doesn't hurt to have something that sounds like a machine gun with you. It was so noisy there that I don't think anybody heard it. You know.
Ideal combination. 850 to 7200.
Yeah. Yeah.
This photograph looks like reminds me a little bit the kabuki, isn't it? The theater, the Japanese theater.
I think that it could be that for the Chinese Cultural Center, they did have some other groups represented also in this, and like as Chinese that they are, they're still multicultural to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, it's our Chinese community in the city is probably about somewhere between 100 and 200,000. There's a lot, you know, and they go all out for the Chinese New Year. Then they celebrate over 2 different weekends. And they have 2 performances a day. So these women are doing 8 performances over 2 weekends. Yeah.
Then we'll move to the next one.
And this is the fiddler at Scottish Country Dancing, and this guy's from Washington D.C. We imported him just for the weekend.
For the weekend.
Yeah, there was 5 in the band. There's one from California, and there's this guy, and think the other three were from Scotland. You know, just put them together for the
Wow.
weekend. And then send them home on Sunday afternoon.
And everything went well.
Oh, did it ever? And the music was fantastic. This guy was great. You know, and it's
And the kills
Yeah,
betray
he's-
where they come from.
no, not necessarily there's a lot of there is and there isn't history behind the kilt.
Yeah, I know.
What happened is an awful lot of it was created by Scott in 1822. He came up with all these instant Scottish traditions that the Scots believe, because Scott never told a lie in his life, you know, and I don't think he ever told the truth either.
And each kilt of
But,
each combination of the colors and everything mean a different family, isn't it?
Not really, because historically, and I went to Stirling Council and I inquired about this, is that when you went to see the weaver, depending how much money you had,
Uh-huh.
what colors you got to choose from.
Okay.
Certain colors were way more expensive. And if you didn't have much money, you got all vegetable dyes. And if you had more money, you could have imported dyes, which gave you more colors.
All right.
And if you ever seen 5 women that like the same color,
They miss these
You know, or the
details
same
on the documentary.
yeah, oh, they you know, yeah, they miss a lot of details on the
Yeah,
documentary.
exactly.
You know. But I've done a bunch of research into this, and I've got 6 formal kilts of my own,
Yeah.
all different tartans. And the excuse that I use is I'm a Stuart. I used to be the royal family, so I can wear whatever damn tartan I want. And nobody has argued that point with me yet.
So David says that these first few images were warm, and then he moves on to something else that's out of his norm with the next series of shots.
I was shooting sunrise shots about a kilometer and a half to the east of here, and a bicyclist, he stopped by and he asked him if I shot animals, and he said up there was a beaver or two on that island. So I went up for a walk to see what I could see, and when I was walking close to this island, I saw 2 geese, the Canada geese, the ones that didn't go south. And then I get a bit closer, I could see a lump. Oh, and then it turned up being the beaver. So then I walked in closer, and and I saw more. And you notice in this picture there are 5 of them. I've never seen 5 beaver before in my life. Yeah, in Calgary, you're lucky to see 1 beaver every 2 or 3 years.
Right. Looks like
And-
6. One in the water
Well,
and
we can go. There's more shots here.
Yeah, I
in
think the one
different
on the
states.
far right is actually one body, kind of like going from the behind on the far right, and then the head kind of carries over the back end of the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it because the one on the far right, you see the ass
Yeah,
end.
you're seeing the ass. Yeah,
beautiful
we'll,
animal.
we'll move on to his next one. And
And this is the one I shot first.
Cute.
I don't, and he was off by himself. And then eventually he swam over to the rest. And this is when there was 3 of them.
Could be a
And
family,
they kept
David.
multiplying.
Could be a family.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but they usually separate in the fall, and this is getting to be spring. And just to make it interesting, is on this island there is is a guy, you can't call him homeless because he's been living on the island for 5 years. So I call him a squatter. And the beaver were there before he noticed them. And I think he chased them away because next day there was nothing to be seen. You know,
Yeah.
because you know, but here he got 4 of them. And that is spruce that they're eating. So they were kind of hard up to be eating spruce because beavers don't like spruce. And if you ever taste spruce, you'd know why, because poplar tastes a lot better. You know. And here's back
Five
to
again.
5.
Yeah.
The one on the left, that might be an adult, whatever, because it was kept getting wood for them. But when I went back the next day, you can see where they cut down a whole bunch of trees because they had fresh wood chips all over the place. And the trees were gone, so were the beaver. Yeah.
Excuse me. Got one more
But
here.
this was almost pure luck to get these. And I just went out to see what I could see, and there they were. And I watched them for about a half an hour, and then I had to, I got called away, or else it would have been there for quite a while longer.
Well, you got them, Dave. So you're you're starting to drift into the wildlife zone now. So we're converting you a little bit at a time. But
Yeah,
that's a good shot. But
and
they were all very, very good. We appreciate you taking the time to send them in as usual.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
And this is with my Z9, and and there's most of these are shot at 600.
See, now you're going to end up starting to watch old reruns of Leave It to Beaver now.
No, hopefully the tariff applies and I won't have to.
Yeah. So we got an image from Arthur Smith contacted me, and we had a little back and forth his email, and I encouraged him to. Arthur's always taking good shots, and we've had on again visits with him, and I says, send me a shot. I mean, we'll show it. So I don't know if he popped in the chat or he may watch it tomorrow. I don't know, but he sent in the following picture, which is a very nice shot of some whistler ducks. And so I thank him for taking the time to sending in a image anyway, and hopefully he'll down the road. About shot. Very pretty ducks. Very pretty ducks. I think Bob and I might have gotten some of these when we were in, where the heck were we? We were up in North Charleston. I think we might have gotten a shot of these ducks. I'll have to go back and look, but yeah, I don't see these in the Myrtle Beach area. Let's put it that way. The next shots we're going to see we have a few that Jimmy sent in, aka Real Nikon Lover, and then we'll have some images from Luis sent in some pictures. So this the first image here that I'll bring up that Jim took is grandson Kieran at age 9 months. This is an October 2024 photo. This is with the Z9, with the Z24-120 and the SB 5000 flash, and held at 67 millimeters, ISO 800, f5, 1/60th of a second, aperture mode, metering 3D with facial recognition. He used, and I told him, it looks like a colorized photo. When my children were very young, and I think I took the picture off the wall on one of the shows and I showed it. Had this elderly gentleman that was kind of going door to door when I was a young parent, and asked if we would have any interest in having black and white pictures taken of our children and getting them colorized. And we thought about it, and we said, sure. I says that I've never had one done before, and this looked just like it. And Jim says, well, that was his intent, was to try to mimic the colorization process. And he used Microsoft Photos, Photoshop Elements, Nikon NX, and I know the doggone type correction, spelling checker probably changed the wording on something, and where it doesn't make any sense, it says aperty. I'm sure he meant aperture, maybe. I'm not sure, but I love the fact that you type it in right and then it corrects it incorrectly. But anyway, his intent was to make this look like a colorized photo. And going back a little on my story, the sad thing is, like the gentleman, we talked for quite a while, because obviously, I took pictures back then, and I said, wow, it's amazing. When he dropped off the end result, they were beautiful. And I said, man, you don't see anybody doing this anymore. And he says, there isn't really any of us left that know how. And he offered to actually me, but I was a young parent, and at the time I was probably working 2 jobs. My wife was working full time. I just didn't have the time to do it, but I kind of regret it, because it's obviously a lost art, and the guy had some really great skills, and unfortunately there's not too many people left that know how to do it anymore. But this was the first image he sent in anyway. And then the next image is a little bit different. He said this was a self-portrait of himself. And which we know that's not true. I don't want to insult the lizard. Sorry, Jim. He used the Z9 here with 5 macro lens, SB4000, used as a fill flash, handheld at 105 millimeter f11, 1/60th of a second, aperture mode with center weighted metering. He says he called it, he had a visitor visit on the front door today, actually a blue belly or western fence lizard, about 3 inches long, including a tail. And says it's native to Arizona, New Mexico, and California, as well as Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and northern Mexico. Widely found in its native range and is common, being seen in yards, or as the name implies, on fences. And he says, as the ventral abdomen of an adult is characteristically blue, it's also known as the blue belly. So, interesting information on there. Cool. Thank you, Jim.
Great shots, Jim.
Okay, I'm on the next photo. So the next photo is from Luis. He says these are so far the only images he processed from his last Thailand trip. He says he has a lot to go through still. He says it was a great 3-week adventure. All these images were taken in the northwest of the country. So this first image is of a Siberian ruby throat, a very common winter migrant, but generally difficult to see species. He says seen in a clearing in the shade of a few trees. Z9, 100 PF, f6.3, 1/160th of a second, ISO 450, and minus 0.7 EV. And I think he sent me two. He sent me this shot, and then he resent it later on and asked me to swap it out because he fooled with it some more to give it a little bit more definition. And wonderful shot. It earns its name, the ruby throat, that's for sure. Now, his next image that he sent, this is called a spectacled bar wing. He says only seen once right at the border with Myanmar, in open area with very hard light. Z9 with the 600 PF again, f6.3 1/1000th of a second, ISO 320. Very pretty bird. Quite a spectacle. See down here, that's for sure.
I really like these shots where the subject is really sharply in focus and the background is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. His camera conspiracies calls that 3D pop.
Yeah.
And it's a nice effect.
Now this next fella, he said, is a chestnut-headed tessia. Same location as previous, he says, but these birds, this bird was inside the dark forest. After having a few shots with higher shutter speeds and outrageous ISOs, he decided to hold the camera against a tree trunk, lower the speed to get the ISO to 9,000. The bird is about 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches in size, a real beauty. And this is once again with the Z9 and the 600 PF wide open at 6.3, 1/320th of a second, so 9,000 and minus a third of a stop EV. And he says he said he was going to try to stop in if he's not too tired, but wiped out from this trip, that 3-week trip that he took. Definitely caught up to him. And when I thought he's such a 3, and then he sent in one more later on, caught his breath, I guess, and he says this is a shot he took a couple of days ago in the Netherlands with the Z50. And he says he wanted a light combo for his backpack, and by chance was near a place. There's this Bacal teal had been seen over the previous couple of weeks. He says this species should be spending the winter or Japan, but somehow this male showed up here. He says there were no other birders there, but after 1 hour, he managed to find it near other ducks. So this was, like I said, with the Z50 Mark II, 600 PF lens, f7.1, 1/1000th of a second. He says this teal was hyperactive, moving all the time. ISO 2800, poor light at the end of the day. And he says the Z52 is a good small camera. He says he'll use it more for macro in the future. But it did the job for this shot. I think the Z52 is a great budget camera for anybody starting out. That is a really good choice if you're budget. That's a good way to start. It's considerably better than the original version, that's for sure.
Yeah, cameras are only getting better.
Now, the next series of shots are going to be from Mr. Roy. Roy, you feel like narrating?
I'm here somewhere.
Okay. We're going to bring up your first shot here.
Okay,
I move my mouse and then to click on my cheat sheet, and then I move
these shots
picture.
are some early stuff I never got paid for, so I don't mind putting them on the show. They're Ballarat goldfields.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a head frame then.
That's all off slides. 1970s.
Now, what is it now? Just a destination at this point?
It is, yes. It's a tourist trap. It was then.
Okay. So it hasn't been active for a long, long time.
Probably not, no. Just touristy now.
Okay. Yeah, here's where you kind of, this next shot you sent in, it kind of defined when you mentioned tourist trap, and then you see this. Then you're like, yeah, okay, it'll look like a tourist trap. And if you don't think it's a tourist trap from that shot, they go moving again.
They used the pictures in their brochures, but they never paid me.
Oh,
Yeah, we are.
Oh, that's
Yeah. See, that's a mining head frame. No.
so here they are. Let's get all the people and make these horsies run. Get them all excited. Give us a good tip.
These two horses aren't really built for running.
No.
They're built for pulling.
And then switched over to a few critters on us because he's being converted as well.
Did you shoot this one from home, Roy?
Yes, 2 nights ago, out the front door.
Yeah, I was waiting for your home shot. You know?
About as far as I can get these days. Very hard to do the black cockatoos because they're black in bushes.
Yeah.
Now, what do they eat? Is he eating,
That
or is
bush
he?
they're in is like a nut tree. You can hear them before you see these birds, just crunching these nuts. Not very clear of the bird though.
There you go. You got that one. That one's good.
Still
You
not
see
happy
the
with
tongue. You can see the tongue and everything.
it.
I certainly would have my finger near it.
Well, if you heard how they crack these nut things, you wouldn't go near them.
No, I mean you could use those use the beak and say, here, you kind of snip off the end of my cigar before I skip, type of thing, you know.
We get them most days now. They like the trees I've got at the front.
And then you call the next critter kangaroos.
Yeah, 400
awesome.
4.5 lens under moonlight.
Yeah, Roy took this
I
in
know.
the moonlight.
A noisy possum.
It's a possum of some sort.
Now, what does it eat?
I think it's an apple
Anything.
or something.
Yeah, it wants to, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they're too gentle. They're cute little things. They've
They
got totally
eat-
different people though.
They eat my chilies.
So that's our chilies.
They love them.
There's another one.
We had this chili plant with all these red chilies on. They disappeared one day.
Yep. That's what happened to me. And I had a nice, very nice chilies, very hot one.
And it's still gone.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. They didn't let anything.
Well,
Yeah,
they're cute. They're cuter than the raccoons. The raccoons I see down here, unfortunately, are pretty scraggly looking.
My old
These-
house in
these look-
Brisbane, we had a python about 3 meters long, and all the possum disappeared for a couple of months. It was really nice. quiet.
Maybe what you want to do is fence up your chilies and put the python on the inside.
Yeah. But that
Now I know
happened
we have
after, right?
chilies anyway.
That happened after, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But we were quiet for a couple of months after that. They're very noisy.
Not like those black cockatoos.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They are very noisy.
They are
Terrible
the
squawk.
noisiest and ugly noise.
Mm.
Yeah, I see
Very
there's a
squawky.
little back and forth in the chat with Joe Dixon. Yeah, Joe, the first Saturday every month I do the show, do the photo review show the first Saturday of every month. And then the other Saturdays, you go to Chuck Talks on AP Studios. Same time, different channel. Sorry for the confusion. I will put up the reminder slide for the next photo review in a little bit when we get through the images, and then what we'll do is, for those that have come in late, we go spinning and we spend 3 or 4 seconds on each image and go through with the whole set of them before we make comments about the images, and they've all been great as usual, like they always are. Our next set of images. Thank you, Roy, for what you sent in. I appreciate it. I enjoy. I'm glad you sent in the second batch here. So we had some critters from Australia to.
Aussie critters are nice. I wished I was lower when I took this one. I couldn't get any lower.
Well, a problem is I can get low, but the problem's getting back up.
Don't worry about that. That's later. You get down there first.
Yeah. The next images we're going to see are from Martin Hild. And then after Martin, we have some images from Scubarazzi, a.k.a. Paul. It took us to find out who the Scubarazzi was, and then finally he revealed that his name is Paul. So I try not to forget that. So Martin's first image here is, and here he goes. He always has to give me German words. You could screw me, even though I am part German, doesn't mean I can say it or understand it. But anyway, he says this first image is their first spring flower started to bloom, and he got a new lens. Okay, so the new lens is the TT Artisan Triopan clone, which is famous for the bubble bokeh. So I like the lens quite a bit, but have not managed to get a real good shot. It is not sharp at all, but I still like what it can do. Well, at least I got a test shot for the show. The flowers also stood in a weird angle downhill from him. Flowers are called, here we go, Marzenbecher, which translates to March cup, with March being the month, of course. Wikipedia suggests spring snowflake, St. Agnes flower, and snowbell as names. He says, I don't recall the exact settings, but here we got it on the screen. It was a 24 millimeter. According to this, it's 4 millimeters. F15, 1/100th of a second, ISO 100. He says he shot this with the Z6 II wide open, and he says this is also a bit of a crop because the focus distance isn't as close as in the following photo that you're going to see. So in the next photo, it's the same group of flowers, but it's a different lens. This time he shot with the 100 millimeter T/S TT Artisan macro. Overcome the awkward angle of the flowers on that downward slope, he shifted down and thus managed to get a straight and easy photo. He says, I quite like that possibility. You can easily see the difference in rendering. He says, however, this photo is almost uncropped. And this is Yeah, I don't know why this is when he says this was with the 100mm lens. The data image still says 24mm, but I'm not going to try to figure that one out.
The perspective looks the same on
Yeah.
both of them.
So something doesn't matter, but that's okay. We'll just enjoy
Well,
the
I think it was the ISO that was at 100, wasn't it? Sometimes with manual
No.
focus lens, they may not have the contacts to read the information correctly. So,
But then it's usually blank.
yeah, so it's
Yeah,
0000. Yeah.
Well, we can always go back and check.
Well, it
It's
says
only back
24mm, and then in parentheses it says 0.0mm f 0.00. So
But that's what the one prior to it said
yeah,
too.
yeah. So it's not getting all the data.
He could have put that information in
Yeah.
afterwards.
So the next image is he got this.
Oh boy.
He says on the same day, but not in the forest. He went to look for our lizards. So on a wall by the River Rhine, he says he suspected with the warm temperatures, the skinks might already be out, and indeed they were. He says this common wall lizard is hanging head down from the wall. He said, I kind of like the color of the lichen and the moss, and he loves the lizards. And this was taken with the Nikkor 105 macro lens, f4.5, ISO 125, 1/1250th of a second. He goes, yeah, it was a very bright sunny day at those settings. And then the next shot he says is his favorite. This was another wall lizard, common wall lizard, a few meters further down the path. He says this one looked curiously from a crack in the wall, taken with the Z6 II, with the 105 macro lens, f3.2, ISO 200, 1/3200th of a second. So he says, he's so happy that spring is about to be here. He looks forward to taking more pictures with the new lens and use its. He says, I wonder what you guys think about not so sharp lenses. He says, I can see that it might become old once I've made a few pictures, but for now he likes it a lot. And I know I wrote back that what he's describing is typical of a lot of the lenses, obviously from the 50s and 60s. I mean, you can't compare lenses from the 50s and the 60s to a Z lens of today, because those lenses, irregardless brands, back in time were, they were never sharp wide open. Their focus area was more in the middle, and then very blurry around the edge, and you had to stop the lens down, sometimes at least 2 stops, maybe more, to get the edges to be sharp. So this lens is just kind of behaving. This new lens that he got is basically behaving like a lens from way back when, and obviously many of us were around way back when to use those lenses, and some of us still do. So it's not it's not going to be a critically sharp edge to edge lens like you have on the majority of the Z-mount lenses that you buy now. So doesn't make it a bad look or anything. It's just different, and for some people that are younger, they probably haven't seen this look a lot, unless they had to be shooting with old film cameras. And there are a lot of young people now shooting old cameras, so you never know. But yes, good luck with the new lens. Share some more pictures with that when you get a chance. And Martin, as always, we appreciate you taking the time to send stuff in. And they old saying, something old always becomes something new, Well, this is this is the whole argument you get from, like, well, Z-Wade brings it up a lot. you would always complain that lenses don't have character anymore. And I think when people come up with that term, and I'll be critical with my comment here, when somebody says, "Oh, lenses don't have character anymore," it's kind of like giving an out. Using that term kind of it implies you're giving an out to the fact that a lens in the past that they couldn't make it good enough to be sharp corner to corner, they get a free pass because now we just call it lenses that have character. But that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Like, talk about it like, well, the lens doesn't have any character. No, the lens doesn't have any defects. Okay. And if you want to call those defects character, that's okay. But call it out for what it is. I mean, those lenses represent what the technology was back in the day, and that's what you got. And then eventually, as lens design got better, and everything's modeled on CAD programs and so on and so forth, then eventually the so-called character went away. So I just find it interesting that that common use of lenses with character. It's like just a light and saying, yeah, that lens sucked, but we're going to say it had character.
Yeah, what I mean by character is like a Zeiss lens where it's sharp in the center and then it just blurs around the edges.
Yeah, I mean, that's how most of them were. That's how most of them were back then. And you had to, if you had a let's say an f 1.4 lens or something, you'd have to stop down to f4 or 5.6 to get it sharp in the corners. Easy, maybe even more, depending on who made the lens. Roy knows all about that.
Yeah, it's a big thing on what you're shooting, but it's very common back then to shoot 5.6 and f8 and whatever.
Yeah.
And very rarely wide open unless you actually focused on that one particular part on the shot. So that have it in focus and nothing else.
So it does give you a cool effect because your eye gets led right to whatever has the most light, your eye goes to that, or whatever is the sharpest in focus, your eye goes right to that, which is why if you're a bird or whatever, the critical part is having a sharp eye. The beak could be a little blurry, the back of the head could be a little blurry, but it's almost a sin if you have a blurry eye, and you might as well most people just throw those pictures out. And that's for a reason, because that's what you want the people's eye to get drawn to, is the head of the bird,
And, this is the macro lens too. And I was just shocked how gorgeous it is.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me of the old character lens, like Zeiss, where,
Yeah, and then and not to get off topic, but Zeiss is going to be putting out some a 50 and an 85 1.4 lens for the Z mount sometimes. They think they were supposed to announce it on January. To be honest with you, I didn't pay attention to whether or not that happened or not, but I think it did.
You're talking about the oldest lenses?
Yeah.
Two new ones.
Two
new ones.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
Yeah.
They're lighter, cheaper. But a couple of people, they said they still have a chromatic aberration.
Yeah.
They're not like the old
It
ones.
has character.
They have a character. Yeah, okay.
I'll probably get an all comments about this show with me using that, saying what I said. But I mean, it's funny, I mean, not that you don't like how it looks and it's different and enjoyable, but it's like we try to find excuses sometimes for something that we used when we were a lot younger. And we hate that everybody badmouths it, so we come up with a nice way of wording things.
That's exactly what it is. Nothing to do with the character or whatever. When I was younger, before a couple of years, we were trying to buy a lens to be sharp as possible. That when we were saying, oh yeah, buy a Zeiss or something like that, an exotic by money lens. Now they give us lenses which are beautifully sharp edge to edge. We don't like it. It's so clinical. It's too sharp. Come on.
Yeah,
Be
it's too
serious.
sharp. It's like, well, it goes to show you that if you want to have, and nothing wrong with it, if you want to have different looks, you have to buy different lenses, right?
We
You
have
want,
Photoshop too.
yeah, different looks, different lenses, or do a lot more fiddling in post. There's your options. The next image is coming up. Razi, who
Yeah,
was
he's
here.
here.
Hello, Paul. Good. I see your name showing up in the chat on my laptop. So glad that you're with us. So we're going to bring up his first image sent in, and let me pull it up on the screen first. And he said he already did a similar picture
Nice.
to this when Lena the Falcon did of her nephew Timmy. The time he managed to catch Lena taking a picture of Asta. Unfortunately, the weather was very bad and the location is not ideal. He says when the weather is good, you could see the Alps. It's not at all easy to get motivation when both animals are not looking around. He says he had to take many shots, but this is a classic. You know, they used to have a show on TV like what Pets Do the Strangest Things or something like that. This would have been something that would be on a TV show.
Did you actually press the button, press the shutter, make the photograph or not?
You know, it's got touch
Yeah,
screen.
he's got
Okay.
the touch screen out, you know, or the touch beak. They call that the touch beak feature.
Yeah.
And this is what the
You're getting behind the times.
yeah,
You know,
and this is with the Z8 with the Z14 to f4 at f4 1/640th of a second ISO 80 at 14 millimeters. So this is so neat. I mean, he Paul always finds some creative ways here with
yes, it's better than Gustavo's shot where the bird perched on the lens and crapped on it.
yeah. Well, that's what the bird thought of the shot, I guess, right? I don't know. Sorry for that. The next shot, Paul caught a cormorant that just caught a big fish, and he had to crop it in quite a bit. He says he had to take the shot from a long distance. It's also cormorant just when he gets up, because they eat the fish so quick that many times if it's a smaller size fish, the fish is already swallowed before their head even comes out of the water. So when you're trying to get pictures of cormorants eating the fish, once their head goes down, you're trying to see where their body's moving to predict where they're going to pop up, and then you blast off a series of shots, because you know if it comes up with a fish that it's not going to be in the viewfinder very long, because they eat like pigs. I mean, Bob and I were taking pictures in an area where there's oyster beds, and when the tide goes out, the water is funneled through the oyster in between the oyster beds. So the cormorant sit in a spot where any fish that were basically being pulled back out to the ocean were going to have to get past that cormorant. And we got pictures of one. It was only one cormorant there. One cormorant, no lie, ate more than 12 fish. 12 fish. And they were all decent sized fish. Yeah, they're live fish. They'd have to get by him to get out to the ocean, and he just blocked them because it was very arrow, and he just ate fish after fish after fish.
Could fly
And I'm like,
afterward?
I don't know how I mean, I know the gizzard in a bird, grinds up the food source, but these things must have it must be like a wood chipper effect or something. But I don't know how a bird that isn't really huge could eat 12 plus fish one right after another. And it blew me away. And you hear stories, they talk about that a lot of these parks and stuff, they hate when they get a flotilla of corn in their body of water, because they can wipe out a whole pond all by themselves. I mean, if you can eat 12, 14 fish out of one bird, if you had hundreds of them come in, oh my goodness, definitely could wipe out your fish population pretty quick. But anyway, he says I digressed. He says he loves the green eyes and the very big fish, and this was with the Z8, the 180 to 600, 1/2500th of a second, f/6.0 800, and he was at the 600 millimeter end of the range, and he said he did have to crop of that. But you got it, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Now the next image, this guy's a brave man, because he says at a place where he normally takes his photos of kingfishers, they can now find 5 young wild boars. And he says normally it's almost impossible to shoot them. One reason is that they are very shy and can only be seen at night. And if you see young ones, their mother is not far away. And wild boar mothers with babies are normally dangerous and attack people. But of course, Paul ignored that. They're considered the most dangerous animal in Central Europe, not bears or wild boars. But Paul took his chances and got these. Says these are somehow alone, and their mother was not seen for a while. He says they can be seen in the morning, don't mind people walking by. They're only afraid of dogs. He says he was even able to get close to them because he took these pictures with 28 millimeter. At 28 millimeters, so he's close to these guys. He used the Z50 Mark II, which I believe obviously is a new body in his arsenal of cameras, and it's doing a good job, very good job. And he used the lens that Randall talked about earlier, the Z28 to 400, the f4 f8 lens. This is at f6.3, 1/400th of a second, ISO 7200 at the 28 millimeter setting. So he was brave enough not only to take one picture of these guys, he took a series of pictures. And this one here, he said, after with their dog walked by, the little ones hid and then came back again, and this is the picture of one of them looking over to make sure everything had come out. Once again, this one was with the Z8 with the 180 to 600 f5 6.3 lens at f6.3, 1/200th of a second, ISO 3600 at the 600 millimeter end of things. And then he sent in another image. Is this what they call the gruesome twosome? The gruesome twosome is after everything was okay, they moved over the way back to the grass to feed again. He says he was standing right there. They didn't care at all. They came back to him and did feed again directly in front of him. He says, but this will become a problem very soon. They are not afraid of people. When they get bigger, they might cause a threat to humans and dogs. And they're already now doing damage on the grass area. He says if they find the fields, I'm sure the farmers won't be happy and will, quote unquote, remove them, as he worded it. This is with the Z8 as well, with the 180 to 600 at 600 millimeters, f6.3, 200th of a second, ISO 3600. And he ended his with, I wish you and everyone a nice and inspiring photo review. Well, my friend, you helped make it an inspiring photo review. He didn't think he was going to be able to make it, but he managed to come in, which is great. And he had a question for you, Randall. Okay, you there? You awake? Since I can't see you.
I'm there.
Okay, so the question.
Snoring.
Snoring. Well, stop snoring long
And my
enough.
dog.
Stop snoring long enough to answer this question for Paul.
Okay.
He said if you have experiences with any good adapters for F-mount lenses on Sony A6000 series of cameras. He says he has a friend who would like to borrow his Paul's old lenses, but he has a Sony A6300, and they're looking for a good adapter that will support autofocus. So he wants to put F-mount lenses on a Sony A6300 that will support autofocus, and he wants to know if there's what adapter works the best.
I think I tried one with K&F Concepts, and that was a total failure. Let me check real quick, and I'll give you an answer, and I'll write it in the comments.
Okay. Okay, the last set of images here are from me. These are going to be the last set, and then we'll review all of them. And I'm getting a bit sore, so I think when we get through the images and review them all and talk for maybe a few minutes, I may end the show a little early. My muscle relaxer. So, but anyway, the first shot here is of a brown pelican. This is at the state Huntington Beach State Park. All my metadata is not showing up. I didn't write it down. I thought it would show up. For whatever reason, it's not. So I apologize for that. But anyway, the lighting was really good here. All I had to do was bring down the highlights a little bit on the chest. So I had enough detail in there, but I didn't want to eliminate the fact that was a little bit brighter area. And shot it. This would have been with the Z9 and the 800 PF, so I can give you that much information. It would be with the Z9 and the 800 PF, probably wide open, which is why everything in the background is totally washed out. And so that's number one. Then this next one I kind of like because, as they say with the photography, light is everything. Either the lack of light or the availability of it. Either one, you're all about what light can do for an image. And so here, the great egret is just starting to get its backlit from the sun. The reeds in the background have that kiss of light starting to hit on the reflection of them in the water, and then that branch that's sticking in the water has a little bit of color to it as that's getting hit by the light. So I just like I really enjoy, as everybody knows, taking backlit photos of white birds. Sometimes I call it rim light because predominantly the light puts like a rim right around the bird, and so I sometimes call it rim lighting, but backlighting. And I just like taking shots like this. That's just this. I guess it's like one of my go-to shots, I guess for me personally, that I look for this when I'm for this opportunity, and when I see it, I take it. This next shot is I put this in here as a comical relief, because here is a group of cormorants, and the cormorant on the upper right hand side has its beak kind of turned up, as if he's saying, "Is that a fish that's above me, or is that a bird?" Because obviously it's a bird, but it has the same shape as a fish. It's probably, the bird was probably confused. I thought it was a flying
In the
fish.
middle of the traffic.
Yeah, we don't have flying fish in the marsh area. And we've got, let's see, so here, this was in a little different location. This was probably about a 2-mile drive away from the park, and I'm shooting this from a parking lot basically, and it's just an area where you have a little bit of inlet area off the marsh, and you got some trees, and have gotten some great, occasionally got some great shots of king that like to lay on some of the branches on these trees. And on this particular day, the great egret decided to show up. So I like to get them when you can get, so much time, you just get them when they're in the whatever, and it's nice when you can get a shot of them, in a tree where you get a different surrounding versus a water scene all the time. So when I do see them in a tree, that provides a little bit of environmental shot, different type of environmental shot. I like to grab a those as well. And this next one I really like for I believe it's a shoveler duck, northern shoveler. I believe, if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, but I believe it's a northern shoveler. And I like the reflection. I like the rings in the water, the little bit of water at the end of its bill, and the lighting was obviously, it's facing the light, and kind of just a cute shot. I guess that's the cute shot. Then I took this one I like because it was on the branch that had lichen all over it. Very early morning. Once again, light was just starting to pen into the wooded area, and light up, give me enough light on the lichen. And this is just a yellow, let's see, yellow-bellied warbler, I believe. And there's a lot of them. I end up taking a lot of pictures of these birds. You got to take what you have, right? I mean, we don't always have, I don't always have 100 choices. And then this particular morning, a great blue decided to, this was just like I wasn't even looking in this direction, heard a noise. And I turned around real quick, and I managed to catch the shot before he swallowed it. And literally just before he swallowed it.
Oh.
And then this is, unfortunately, I couldn't share that video with you. And then, but I did put in a still photo of what you would have seen those willeting in the video if it decided to work, which I got to figure out why it. So my last shot, and here's the willet, and it's eating. Oh, there was the willet. There's the willet, and it's eating a sand crab. And be honest with you, I never heard of a sand crab. I mean, ghost crabs, blue crabs, helmet crabs, almost every other kind of crab, and I never heard of a sand crab. And these willets were right in the water where the wave would come in, and you know, they'd have water up to their bellies at least. And then as the water went back into the ocean, they're looking for bubbles, air bubbles popping, you know, in what little was left, because they're looking to see the breathing, you know, of these crabs. And they start digging their straight bills into the water, and they're poking their heads in, and they think they found one. I mean, you know, right, basically almost their eyes are in the mud. I mean, they're really, really probing into the sand, and they found one. They stick their head in there pretty good. And then when one does that, there's usually at least two others that say, "Oh, Fred's got something there. He's onto something." And then they got to go over there and stick their bills literally inches away from Fred, and they're all trying to get, you know, something that they think is there. And then once we'll call this guy Fred, obviously, and once Fred gets this sand crab, if you miss football, you get a scene where you get these guys trying to get these sand crabs. When one of them gets them, he runs as fast as he can away from everybody else, like he's trying to score a touchdown, like he's carrying the football and he's trying to get to the goal line, and he takes off with the sand crab in his mouth. And then more often than not, he'll drop it at least once, if not twice, while he's running, and stop and pick it up and keep running again. And then they don't try to, they don't like pick at it or break it apart. They just swallow the thing whole. They just swallow the whole thing. And they had a photograph of the sand crab on the on a, you know, a signage near the beach. Oh, here's what you might see here. And they had a picture of the sand crab, and it has, like, it looks like it has antennas that come out almost like a snail. And the opposite side of the shell, because you're looking at it from the bottom, is very smooth, and the legs don't stick out like a normal crab. The legs really barely hang over the edges, and they're pretty ugly looking things. And these guys were just there, like we got film and images. You know, Bob and I, we probably got, you know, 2 or 3 film clips each, and literally dozens and dozens of pictures of these guys eating and running with these crabs in their mouth. It was really, never saw it before, so it was first time ever. It was a lot of fun. It made for a really good day. And
sounds more like rugby than football.
yeah, it could be. Yeah, when they're going after them, it could be more rugby. Yeah, but that's it for the photos. And as always, I thank everybody for sending in what they sent in. I encourage those that have not sent any in a while to actively participate and try to send some in for next month. And I'll put the reminder up as soon as we just kind of go through each of these images last time for like 3 seconds or so each picture, and then we'll kind of start wrapping things up. But as usual, you know, wonderful shots, good variety, you know, not all nature. We got landscapes, we got, you know, shots of historical sites. And yes, we do have birds.
But not just birds. This time.
No, and it's never just birds. I mean, we get a lot of nice, you know, we get aurora borealis shots, and this week we got dots from you, David, and then Anita always takes wonderful landscape photos, and she certainly didn't disappoint with her retirement photos that she took when she went on her trip.
Yeah, she's in the chat now.
Anita, excellent job with your images, Anita. Everybody, and as we approached them, everybody really liked them.
Great
Yeah, here's the
series.
first one.
Very nice
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, Randall was asking if you shot these in the fall or if you just painted the leaves.
Yeah. Actually, Anita does watercolors, and she just takes pictures of them when she's done. And she tries to tell us that she's actually there, but she's really just painting it from her living room, you know?
No, that's Roy's trick.
That's Roy's trick.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are all wonderful shots. I would imagine if Anita, if you had to make prints of everything that you say to yourself, I really like that shot, you would have to you'd have to have a museum because you'd never fit them all in your house if you wanted to hang them. And these are some of Gustavo's shots that he sent before he went on his travels. Well, he gets some deer, nice racks too that he gets where he lives, and then these whistling ducks are gorgeous. Bob and I had the shots of the turtles on the log with the alligator at the other end, and here in this case the birds are on the log, and you got the dolphins. And then we got Terry's images. See, I don't have to guess which ones are Terry's because he signed, so that makes it easy. I don't have to do any hard thinking. That's a wonderful shot. That really is. I know you think it's a little dark or whatever, but it's a wonderful shot.
Just the colors.
Yeah. And then what you had, the work you went through to get enough definition on this meteorite was you have extreme patience, my friend.
I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah. When are you retiring, Terry?
I am retired.
Okay.
Because of the COVID, they retired me.
Okay.
And then this black and white interpretation is wonderful.
I think this looks great.
That's something you'd see in a book, Terry. I'm telling you right now.
Thanks a lot, guys.
I mean, a lot of what you do should be in a book.
I will send you one in a PDF.
I want a signed copy someday before I croak.
Anyone you
Well,
want.
he can sign a PDF.
Yeah.
And then a book.
Okay. And these were Jeff Schluter's images. And he's great at too. I just don't live in the right spot I don't live in an area where I'm going to get a lot of photos. It's funny though, if I went into the middle of North Carolina, I'd get, black bear photos. You got a lot of wonderful waterfalls in North Carolina. So I gotta get myself up that way to get some different types of shots. There's no doubt about it. I gotta do that. And Jeff's all good about getting insects that are mating. He always manages to get those shots. And then, as he says, his wife's always leaving him, so she always gets a shot from behind.
She knows better.
I don't think she goes far though.
That's just gorgeous. Beautiful.
I like what you do with the leaves. He finds the leaves on the ice and gets some very interesting detail out of that. And that's stuff that I mean, that's what defines a photographer, is being able to find a beautiful image of something that most people just walk by and they don't even notice it. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between someone that just walks through a park or walks in a field and who's a photographer, because the photographer is looking around for everything and anything, and your observational instincts lead you to something like this. And then we have Randall's kitty cat entertaining us with his trying
her
out
name?
different lenses, and just kitty cat.
Oh, that's Dusty. That's Dusty.
Dust.
That's nasty. I thought it was the dog was the nasty.
Cat
And the
looks
dog was
dusty.
Wanda. So,
All right.
Dog was one, and then he did experimenting with lawn glass with using 2x tele converters on it, and getting an interesting shot from the bird bath. That's not a bowl of pea soup.
yeah, I just missed the
Looks
bird
like
that was
water.
there. I just a little bit behind.
Well, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't prove it.
And we're supposed to believe you?
Yeah. And then this was you took this at 400 millimeter,
Now I did use the 28 to 400.
28 to 400. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that one.
And this is a weird plant. I don't know, like you said, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and it grows these big melons. But look at the texture
Check
of
with
that
Google
flower.
Images.
Yeah.
That's not a squash, is it?
Looks like.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that's a squash plant. Yeah, squash do have yellow buds.
Okay.
It's probably
Yeah.
Take it on Google Images.
yeah. Yeah, I bet you that does sound right. It's a squash.
Yeah, just tell them you can eat them. And then you probably won't cut them.
And then we got David going out of his comfort zone here, which you would never know it based on how the images.
Very nice balls.
David doesn't want to flatter himself, but he does good work no matter what he takes pictures of. And so we got some nice images of the dancers and the violinist.
Well, that's a fiddler.
Fiddler.
There is a difference. It depends on the kind of music they're playing.
Fiddler on the Roof. Was it Fiddler on the Roof?
Oh, he was playing Celtic music.
Yeah. And then David decided to go on the hunt for the beaver sighting. Series of beaver.
Probably
Get on the wild side.
the beavers find David.
Yeah. I would imagine if you're someone that's unfortunate and you have a wooden leg, you don't want to get near a beaver.
Oh, it takes them a while.
Yeah.
But if the wooden leg was freshly cut poplar, it'd move faster.
Yeah, we have
Yeah. If it's spruce, you're probably safe.
beautiful duck image here.
Beautiful ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And we got Jim's colorized photo.
Cheeky, we call it. Cheeky.
And then
You already know.
first he shows you something beautiful. He shows you something beautiful, then he tries to scare you right afterwards. And then we got images from Luis when he was in Thailand for 3 weeks, he said, I believe.
So nice.
So he's always going to be able to show us birds that most of us will never ever, which is kind of neat because to see what's around that's not in your neighborhood, as they say. And then Roy was nice enough to share us golden operation pictures, which is now a tourist trap.
Tourist trap. Yeah.
And the tourists can't even
You
get
know-
away. They just bring the tourists and say, you're ours. You're going where we take you.
They throw little pieces of gold on the river there and put the tourists to try to catch them, and they pay something. I don't know how much, but they pay to try it, and they catching the gold. They say, "Oh, we find gold." Yeah.
And then Roy called these black pigeons when he sent me the email, I believe.
Yep.
Called these black pigeons, and then he called these baby kangaroos. And
Like a
then
big mouse.
Martin sent in some. So this was with a new lens that he bought, Circle Bokeh, that he has to experiment more with, and then he changed lenses. Same subject matter, different lens. And then he moved on to lizard geckos.
That's
And this was with a macro lens. So obviously you don't have you got a very small area that's in focus, but it makes for a very pleasant photo. And then Paul, aka Scubarazzi, sent us in some interesting. Paul's very, very understanding in training.
using it like a remote control.
Teaching these birds how to take pictures is just like very, very unique.
Who needs AI? We've got Paul.
Paul just says, I have bird of prey focusing, doing the cormorant, and then the wild boars that he was brave enough to risk his neck for. Like you said, they are not friendly. Come on, Papa. And then we move on to the handful that I threw in here for the end of the show. We'll zip through these.
The flying fish.
There's the willet with the sand crab. And then we had a few images that God sent in to us. The goose and the eagle battle. Eagle, adult, and juvie.
Verified.
Yep. So let's see. Let me get to where we're not sharing anything anymore. And get back to our normal view here. And I can
Randall has a plate saver.
see
That's the scoring one.
see all our wonderful guests that were nice enough to come to enjoy these images with us, and we thank you for coming and supporting and enjoying all these images that we've all taken. And
We thank you for your effort.
Oh,
Yeah.
the efforts out here. Efforts out here.
The other way.
The other way. The efforts the other way. And let's put up the reminder.
No, you're pointing to the wrong. Oh,
the,
yeah.
the world around us.
Mine, you're pointing to
The audience. The audience. Here's the reminder
But
for
it's
the
great to
next
see it,
photo review. April 5th is the next photo review.
As
Send
long as not first.
you can send more than 4 images if you want. I mean, don't send me 104, but you can send me more than 4 if you want. Send it to selectiveimagery1@gmail.com. You can also send it to my personal email, but either way, I'll get the images. But I prefer that you send it to selectiveimagery1 just because then it's quick that I know why I'm getting something, but send it no later than 12 p.m. Eastern the day before the show, which will be April 4th, a Friday. Images to be JPEG 2048 pixels on the long side. but you can send me in larger files if you want to. I don't save any of your images, as I always say. I tell you, I wish it would have been really nice if over the last years, right, Chuck, over probably more than 2 years at least, doing photo reviews. Imagine if we collated all these images and could create an online book or something with everything that everybody took over the last 2.5 years. It would be absolutely amazing if we could have done something like that. But obviously, that's a huge undertaking for anybody to do. But and everybody's got to be willing to have their images shared with the world, which we do in our own little world here. But they're all excellent. It's always been excellent stuff from everybody, and I can go on and on and on just saying how much it's appreciated, because it really is. And then I have the honor of seeing them before everybody else, and I could just sit back sometimes and I get stuck on some, and I just sit there and I'm just going to look at this picture for about 10 minutes. So a lot of my time is like, I can't get off of looking at these images. They're just so darn good, you know. And it's like, then I'm like, and then I always get stuck following up somebody like, you know, Scubarazzi or Terry or somebody, you know. And it's like, well, you know, I build everybody gets built up, and then I can just let you down gently back to the real world.
Well,
But,
if you hit the thing, it's got everybody's images are good. I'm going to bed.
all right, Chuck.
Yeah.
We'll see you later.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us, my
Well,
friend.
before you leave, Chuck, is Chuck was always wanting people to send in pictures with more pixels on them, so then he could sell them. Well, you know, because he can't sell a 24 by 40 2048
That's right.
photo,
Well,
you know, but if it's a 4096, you can.
Oh.
You know,
Terry was nice enough to send me one of his photos and let me hang on to it so I can make a print out of it. Because
Well, you
I've
can
got,
have any of mine, mate.
but you know what the problem is, you know, I mean, my wife would say, rip all yours off the wall. I like this other guy's better, and I wouldn't have any of my pictures in the house anymore. So I can't let her see too many of Terry's shots or Paul's
That's
shots.
between us.
I'd be out of business real quick, you know. I'd have a going out of business sale.
All right.
But Chuck, have a good one.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Chuck.
Take it easy.
and the worst part with all that, Jeff, is you make you sell your gear because you're not won't be using it anymore because you'll be posting all Terry's and Scubarazzi.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and
Save money
yours.
at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like I said, it's just wonderful because we don't normally have, you know, you go on a lot of other streams or what have you, and they'll do some they'll do more photo critiques than sharing. We do photo sharing, what I call
That's
photo
clickbait,
sharing.
nothing more than that.
With if somebody wants to put their life on the line and ask us to critique their image, we'll be more than happy to do so. But that's not what we're about, because, you know, you could always, it's like movie critics nowadays. Okay. In the old days, you know, movie critics would be, you know, a lot of movies would get 4 stars out of 5 or 3.5 out of 5. And now it's like the movie critics are so critical that they don't seem to like anything that comes out, and good thing that the public, for the most part, ignores them and goes and sees the movies anyway. Because I've seen many a movie that the critics have said is a horrible movie,
Never listen to
and I've enjoyed it immensely. I had no issues with it, but they try to compartmentalize and break things down so much. And a lot of these photo critique sessions, anybody that has sent images to a photo contest can tell you, how someone does in a photo contest, in many cases has more to do with the style of the people that are reviewing those photos and what they like, more so than whether your photo isn't good enough or not. Okay, so that's part of the problem with photo contests is it's not that everybody's walking in there with a blank mind and doesn't have their own perception of what they want to see in the photograph. And but that's what makes photography great, because many of us, I'm sure, have gone into a bookstore and we're in the photo section, and we're looking at quote unquote published photographers, and I'll be honest and say sometimes I'll open up a book and I'll look at it and I'll look at it and I'll say, well, one, I don't know who this is, and two, I don't like anything I'm looking at. And then I could pick up another book from another person that I don't know, and I could sit there and be glued to it and just want to stay in that library and flip through every page and look at it. So, but everybody has a different interpretation of everything. So a picture that Terry might love, I might hate, or a picture that I might love, Terry might hate, and that's
as long you make photographs for yourself and not to show off.
Right. You make it for
me,
you.
That's the main point. If I like it, I respect your opinion, but I don't really care about your opinion.
Right.
Yes, I love to tell me, it's beautiful, but I will accept it and I will respect it if you tell me, I'm not so keen with this photograph. It's all right, it's fair enough. But if I like it for myself, that's it.
You always say that the images are your memories, right? You're taking these pictures,
it's what you feel at the moment.
Your memories, what you're seeing that charges you up or makes you feel good, and be damned if nobody else likes it, because it doesn't matter. It's got to be
behind me. You look behind me.
Yeah.
This is I'll try maybe with a.
Here, I got you on the
we
bigger.
can see it.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular. It is a photograph of 8 photographs, panorama, from what we call Olga's. It is the Catajuta mountains, or the middle of Australia. It is something I loved for the moment I'll be there. The first moment I saw them, I make the photograph. Actually, this is a second copy because the framer destroyed my photograph. He put a lot of glue behind it, and he destroyed it. And I have signed it and everything, like for me. And of course, they reprinted by themselves and they do it again. But still, for me, it's nothing spectacular as a photography, but for me, it was the memories of this moment. The first time I saw this area, and for me, it was speak to me. It was there. I said, wow, you have to make this image. You have to keep that forever. Now, if you like it or not, well, okay.
Yeah.
Like it or not, don't like it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I make it for myself.
I say make yourself happy first, and if somebody else likes it, that's like a bonus. That's a bonus.
Absolutely.
But if you and I think that's the trap. I think unfortunately that's a trap that
marketing
that some photographers get into when they decide they want to make a living as a photographer. Sometimes they start thinking of what do I need to take that will sell? Okay, because they're trying to put food on the table, right?
Yeah.
So their mindset changes a little bit from not necessarily what do I want to take that makes me feel good, you start thinking more about what do I need to take to put food on my table. And then maybe you're not getting the same satisfaction with your images anymore because you're trying to make a living. You're not just doing it
Yeah.
because for
You're
you.
seeing from a different perspective. This
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Professional have to do what the client needs anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying if you're a landscape photographer, a lot of people in their mind, they want to see, let's say, oh, I want to see certain pictures that they've seen a million times already in magazines of Yellowstone National Park or some park, and get like the 10 famous locations that are within a certain area, and whereas. And so that person that's trying to earn a living says, well, I got to make sure I get those 10 places, but hopefully they make enough time where they can get pictures from 20 other places from different perspectives that they never see. And they get people to like those too, because that's what you need to feed your soul. You got to do stuff for you too.
It's Scuba Rossi had a great comment in the chat. He says, for me as photographer, the motto is, the journey is the destination. If people see me outside with my gear and ask me if I'm a pro, I tell them my camera is my dog and it gets me out of the house.
That's a very nice perspective.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that.
Oh yeah.
The trouble is that the dog moves faster than I do.
As always.
Well, yeah, you got two dogs, Jeff. You got your camera and the dog.
Yeah.
Got to leave one behind.
But we really, like I said, words can't. I can't express in words enough of thanks for all those that have supported this channel and come on the panel and have submitted their photos over 2 years. I mean, because we started this on Chuck's channel. And I've kept it going, and I'll keep it going as long as I can, because I think there's so much. And I'm not saying I don't like gear, because obviously when I was doing the show weekly, we talked about gear, but you tried to have some balance, because just talking gear without talking technique or talking how you prepare for a shoot or what you look for certain types of photography. What are the things you do to prepare to take those types of pictures that you like to take and share that with the rest of us. That's part of the journey that Paul's talking about. Okay, we try to not just share images here. We try to share our own individual journeys, and then we've tried to help people understand how you're able to get that shot, whether it's David getting into technical details about the aurora borealis and how he goes about, the data that he looks at to determine whether it's going to be a good night to go out and shoot, or when is the prime time to go out and try to get a shot, and what he has to go through to do that, or the fact that, I think there's an awful, I know a lot of photographers that belong to the 10 o'clock club. They don't show up till 10 a.m. I'm leaving at 10 a.m. I'm not showing up at 10 a.m. I mean, on a rare occasion, I might shoot till noon, but usually between 10 and noon, I'm in a different area where there's a lot more trees and there's more shade, and it blocks the light a little bit, and I can get away with shooting at that hour of the day. But normally by the time 9:30 comes around or 10 o'clock, I'm kind of getting ready to go have breakfast or lunch. And a lot of people don't get that. They're like, why do you guys get up so early? You're here before the sun comes up. And I go, yeah. And why do you think I'm here before the sun comes up? And they go, I don't know. You can't see anything. And I'm like, you can see enough to kind of comb the area see where there's activity, see where there are subjects that you may want to take pictures of, and then you sit there and you do what a photographer has to do, is wait. You sit there and you wait for the light to come to you. You wait for the sun to come up. You wait for the lighting to be just the right way, and then you start taking your pictures. But there's a lot of people in that 10 o'clock come. They shoot from 10 till 1 in the afternoon, and it's like the worst light in the world, and all their white bird pictures are like 3 stops overexposed. So yes, there's a difference between the 6 o'clockers and the 10 o'clockers. That's what I'm trying to say.
As long as it justifies them and let them go out and make a photograph, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's all right. Go out, doesn't matter what time it is.
But anyway, thanks so much for everybody. Don't forget to go on AP Studios Chuck Talks next Saturday from 9 till whenever, 11:30, 12 o'clock, however it goes. And we will see you back on the first Saturday in April. And then between now and then, you got plenty of time to take pictures and send me a couple, right? Wink, wink.
Yep.
So we're going to call it a night, everybody. And thank you to everybody in the chat for joining us and making our evening a little bit fun. And we will see you guys hopefully the next time we do the show. And in between, hopefully you're visiting on Chuck's channel. I do go, just for the record, I do go and watch not all the show, but I watch part of the show when Chuck comes on, and I still can't communicate in the chat with anybody. And no, what's weird is I type something in on the chat and I go, well, if you could see it, let me know. And I know no one's going to see it, but it shows up in the chat. And then the weird thing was when I went and I watched part of it that I missed the next day, the chat showed up and my comment shows up on my computer, but nobody else sees it but me, because I'll be there. Hey guys, saying hello, say hi, yes, I'm here, I'm alive, but nobody knows I'm there, so it's kind of like, I can't even take cheap shots or nothing because nobody sees it,
Well, you might have to create a new email address just for Chuck's show. Yeah, like a new login. But anyway, folks, take it easy and as I say, enjoy life, capture some of it, because it's about you, your memories, whether it's pictures of your kids, pictures of your dogs, pictures of your neighbor's dogs, birds, whatever it is. Go out there and get it. And Terry, between you and Gustavo, I've been trying to talk my wife into going to Iceland. I'm not getting too far.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Are you getting across the street or to the airport?
No. Unfortunately not. She's got another. Well, she retires on the last day of this month. Last day of March is her last day of work. She'll have almost 47 years working for the same company, Travelers Insurance Company, which was founded in Hartford, Connecticut. And she put in almost 47 years. And people are now finding out that she's retiring. As a matter of fact, we have to work on her formal retirement paperwork tomorrow and fill it all out and get it mailed in like real quick because they were late getting it to us. So now we got to do that tomorrow. And but soon she'll be waking up and saying, I don't know what to do now.
Go to Iceland.
Yeah, she goes, it's too cold. Too cold. And I can't walk up hills. I can't do that kind of walking, which is kind of true, unfortunately. But Yeah, I mean, it's just so beautiful. Images from there, and the blue ice in the water, and oh my God, it's just so nice looking. And those shots of churches or buildings that are like built into the mountain with the moss on the top of them and everything are just, I mean, out in the middle of nowhere apparently, and amazing. Just seeing the photos that you guys have shared, and I think someone else shared some too from Iceland. It just, if that doesn't make people want to go, I don't think anything's going to make them go. You know,
Yeah, well,
very very nice place to go. But I am going to be, one of my goals before I end the show is, you guys know that I own a small amount of vintage cameras, and my goal over the next 2 years is to and most of them are film, is to shoot a roll of film in every camera that I have that works,
mhm.
and share those images.
You must have a
So
lot of film.
so that's something that down the road I may interject um, a few pictures every now and then after the photo review or whatever, and just say, here are some images I shot with a 1947 blah blah blah, or what have you, and you guys could just see what they look like.
Nail you.
Yeah, you'll have to describe the camera as a state-of-the-art 1947 whatever with a state-of-the-art lens.
Well, my friend Bob told me to, I don't know, those of you that may have watched the video I did on that Ansco memo camera from 1927 with the memo scope still projector, that where you would, you basically had a custom made, because 35 millimeter cartridges in 1927 were not standardized. So companies that did have cameras that used 35 millimeter film, it wasn't 35 millimeter film as we think of it. It was 35 millimeter movie film that they used. And so they had their own unique film cartridge that they manually loaded film into, and then they would send it to you, and their motto was 50 cents for 50 shots, because it was a half frame camera. And then you would have to pull the leader out a little bit and feed it into an empty canister, because on that particular camera the camera was held up and down. Okay, it was narrow, wasn't really tall, and the film was vertical in the camera, was not horizontal. So you had half frame camera, you got 2 images for every 35 millimeter shot, and it had sprockets. It had sprockets, teeth that pulled down the film. When you advanced the film, you were actually pulling it down and pushing it into that empty roll. And eventually, the new roll is empty. The empty roll is full. You send that roll out, and you got it developed. And then, if you had the extra dough, you would have them. You may say to them, "Oh, make me negatives. Process the negatives. Make me some prints. Oh, and by the way, could you pay extra to have you take that negative film strip and put the images on a positive film?" And then you would get that, that film back, and you could feed it through that stills, that memo scope film, that stills projector, and project your image on the wall. And so my friend Bob said, you guys have probably heard of the, trying to think of it now, I'm going to have a brain fart here. There's a place in New York that provides a lot of old film and does movie film, 8 millimeter movie film, Super 8, whatever. Film Photography Project, that's the name of it. And they do a lot of that stuff. And he said, Jeff, give me the information about your film holders. And he was going to contact them for me and see if I could send a spool to them and have them load it with 35 millimeter movie film. and actually try to take some pictures with that 1927 half frame camera. So that's going to be hopefully a future project where I'm going to actually be able to use that thing for real and share those images. And then I said, when I write you the letter and tell you what I need, I'm also going to see if they could then take those negatives and put it on a positive film so I could feed it through that still projector and show everybody here's the real use of that still projector, because that saved people that had to do, business presentations and doctors, talking about procedures that they did. It saved them thousands and thousands of dollars, because the only other way to show images for a meeting at that time was either you were showing a movie, or you had the old magic lantern and you were using glass slides that were extremely expensive to make. And now you could just use that camera, do the negatives, have the negatives put on a positive, show it on the screen, and it costs you next to nothing to do a presentation in front of a group of people. So that became a pretty popular thing when it came out. It saved some people a lot of money. So I'm hoping to be able to relive that 1927 experience for everybody sometime down the road. We'll see how that works out. But I'll end it on that note. I've talked enough. I got to take my pills. God bless all of you. We'll see you later. Thanks, guys, on the panel as always. And thank you to everyone that was on the panel that had to leave a little early. Chuck and Roy, and Joey was busy tonight, couldn't stop in, but we say hi to Joey and hope he comes back next time. So we'll see you guys next. We'll see you in April. Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Mike.